Hi, everyone. My name is Colin Bailey, back again for another video. Today, we will be talking about my business intelligence class final project. This project will be on tax return data analysis. Again, my name is Colin Bailey. I am a graduate student at Marquette University studying accounting analytics. So let's get right into things. So first, throughout the semester, there's been multiple points where we have done different stages of a business project proposal. So for myself, I wanted to look at tax return analysis and look at different ways where different state government officials could look at tax information and determine which credits are being most taken advantage of, as well as where more revenue can be found. So that is the goal of my research, to dig through tax return data and figure out where more money can be found for people and for the government, both. So here's my updated concept map. We start off with different goals, determining questions to answer, and then that was back at the start of the semester. So, around February, we were looking at which data sources should we be using, what functional requirements, technical requirements, and ideas would most make sense to put together for this project. So in red, I've added a few notes just to kind of make sense of what I've ended up doing at each point. So for example, I used the Nebraska Department of Revenue website was the source of my data set, and we'll talk about that a little bit. In this course, we learn how to use the code language R. So I used RStudio and Excel mainly to dig through the data set. And the goal is the tax revenue analysis. Moving along the concept map, obviously we're looking for inputs that best answer the questions we're asking, and then being able to visualize our findings in a way that any audience could read and make sense of. And so that was kind of my goal and what I've been working on. Throughout the process, continuing to ask questions, am I satisfied with the findings? After asking the questions and inputting them, and then also considering other sources if needed. For this project, I don't know if I will need that, but I just added that. That was something I kept in mind. And then over the next few weeks as the semester ends, we'll continue working on the project with the goal of preparing a final project proposal. So right now I'm around that actionable goal and rough model point, and then hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we'll have that final model done. Okay, so talking about the primary data source really quickly, I was able to find tax return data from the Nebraska Department of Revenue that basically walks you through all of the federal tax returns that have been filed through the state of Nebraska. So we can look at income, deductions, tax due, credits, pretty much anything you could find on a Form 1040. And the reason I chose 2019, although newer data sets were available, were because that was before the COVID-19 pandemic. I think this is a more accurate tax year, or rather predictable than accurate. I think that newer non-published years will be closer to 2019 than 2020 or 2021. So I'm going to use 2019. So statistical methodologies, these are the ones I am considering and will probably use a bit of all three. So descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, and inferential statistics. So descriptive, what has happened in the past and trying to figure out the characteristics of the data set. Diagnostic analytics, and this could be regression analysis, that's kind of my plan, determining why the past outcomes have occurred. And inferential statistics, which would include hypothesis testing and being able to draw conclusions about a population through testing different points of my data set. So alternate approaches that I considered but probably will not use would include predictive analytics, just because it would be a little more advanced than the current model that I have, but in future models, this could absolutely be taken advantage of with a few more years of added analysis. And that kind of ties into the time series analysis. It's hard to justify using that analysis for my current model, just because the past 3-4 years have been, I think if we were to make a predictive model by using the past 3 years of tax data, I don't think it would be quite as accurate as if we had used prior years. And it would just take in an efficient amount of time, I think, for what this project is asking for. So in conclusion, the importance, I think it's very important that governments use resources efficiently, but not only do they use those resources efficiently, but they're able to find ways to increase their tax revenue without hurting the average taxpayer, as well as, saving money for the average taxpayer. I think we can find the best of both worlds. Data use, again, the Nebraska Department of Revenue website had great data sets, and that's what I will be using. Using those different analytics, different analytical methods that we talked about, as well as the goal of this project overall is to be able to create quality, actionable advice that can be used by government officials who are in charge of budgeting decisions. Thank you very much. Here is my contact information if you have any questions. Thank you.